Hey everybody, how's it going? Today I'd like to go over an article that came out in the Wall Street Journal that, in my opinion, is complete and utter garbage. A lot of what we call journalism these days is not actual journalism, rather, it tends to be a blogger who is driven by ideology. In this case, it is a blogger that is driven by most likely lobbyist revenue. And I'd like to go over why that is. So let's read this article and then let's go over the facts that could be demonstrated with a 10-second Google search that no one at the Wall Street Journal decided to do prior to allowing this to be published. So this says, right to repair is bad for your health. Do you want a PET scan from a machine with unauthorized adjustments? By Tom Giovanetti. Not long ago, a shade tree mechanic with average skills could fix whatever was wrong with your car. These days, cars are far more advanced. Onboard computers allow cars to diagnose themselves for most common problems and make engines run more efficiently while squeezing out more power than ever before. All this advanced technology has put the shade tree mechanic pretty much out of business. Working on a car today requires advanced training and technical ability. The technology inside and outside the car consists of patented software, chip designs, and proprietary systems. But the benefit to the consumers has been enormous. These inventions are covered by patents to encourage and reward innovation. American innovation is dependent on the protection of intellectual property. It encourages innovation by discouraging theft. But there are those who are philosophically opposed to intellectual property protection. Left-leaning public interest law firms and activist groups led by United States PIRG, an assortment of public interest law firms, have been trying for years to undermine intellectual property protection through right-to-repair campaigns in state legislatures. During this legislative session, they are pushing their anti-innovation agenda in the guise of a right to repair advanced medical devices. In my state, Texas Rep. Teresa Meza, my apologies for mispronouncing your name, has introduced a bill this session titled the Medical Device Right to Repair Act. This bill would require manufacturers of highly advanced medical devices like MRI machines, CT scanners, and PE scan systems to disclose confidential and patented design and service information. A right to repair sounds reasonable, but forcing manufacturers to disclose their proprietary technologies would erode the incentive for innovation and endanger patients. Today, the Food and Drug Administration regulates and monitors medical device safety. The FDA demands that original equipment manufacturers follow its guidelines regarding software updates, patches, and more comprehensive repair jobs. The uncertified third-party service providers who would conduct repairs if these bills pass aren't regulated by the FDA. There's no assurance they will follow FDA standards. No citation. We're going to get to that one just soon. Forcing disclosure of these advanced medical technologies and opening them up to uncertified technicians may also represent a cybersecurity threat. You may be troubled by the idea that voting machines can be hacked, but what about opening up MRI machines and PET scanners? Patients could be endangered by sabotaged medical devices, but they might also suffer from malfunctions that cause inaccurate test results and thus unidentified medical problems. Such concerns include direct theft of American innovation by bad actors seeking advanced U.S. technology, such as China. Right to repair sounds sympathetic, but it's a wolf in sheep's clothing. It's not being pushed by small repair businesses, but by ideological public interest law firms and activists as an attack on intellectual property. State legislators in Texas and elsewhere would be making a terrible mistake by falling for this bait and switch, risking the health of patients and opening up the medical device industry to dangerous and unfair vulnerabilities. Mr. Giovanetti is the president for Institute for Policy Innovation. This is a nonpartisan public policy think tank. Now, before we dig into this, let's just go over the word innovation. I like innovation. I believe in innovation. Innovation is where you take a revolutionary idea and you use it to change the world in a positive way. Unfortunately, when it comes to right to repair, innovation is a buzzword that gets used by paid corporate lobbyists that typically speak in these types of terms, making unsighted arguments and fearmongering, using fear, uncertainty, doubt. Fear, uncertainty, doubt. You don't want to lose innovation! When in reality, we're not doing anything that would hurt innovation. Let's just go over this point by point. So the first is he talks about how the shade tree mechanic has been destroyed by the fact that cars are so complicated nowadays. It's not like someone that's not authorized by the manufacturer could rebuild something like a Tesla, which is one of the most advanced cars there is. Oh wait, there's someone that does this on a literally daily basis and uploads videos showing how he does it and then driving the car once he completes it. Now, what if these places repair the medical devices in a manner where it's not up to the FDA standards? The FDA is going to be who regulates medical device repair, and what if it's not fixed according to the standards of the FDA? Well, let's see what the FDA has to say about that. Now, a few years ago, the FDA actually produced this. This is from the FDA itself, U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA report on the quality, safety, and effectiveness of servicing medical devices. This is about 3 years old, and let's just read the executive summary. It says, The currently available objective evidence is not sufficient to conclude whether or not there is a widespread public health concern related to servicing, including by third-party servicers of medical devices, that would justify imposing additional, different, or burdensome regulatory requirements at this time. Rather, the objective evidence indicates that many OEMs and third-party entities provide high-quality, safe, and effective servicing of medical devices, and a majority of comments, complaints, and adverse events reports alleging that inadequate servicing caused or contributed to clinical adverse effects and death actually pertain to remanufacturing and not servicing. And the continued availability of third-party entities to service and repair medical devices is critical to the functioning of the U.S. healthcare system, cited by the FDA, the very organization that he is using to fearmongering say as to why independents should not be able to repair medical equipment. This man is full of shit, and so is the Wall Street Journal for publishing this garbage without having an editor do a 5-second Google search to see what the FDA actually had to say about it. But again, we're talking about the Wall Street Journal here. It's not like we're actually talking about real journalism. I would just go over some of the basic interviews I've done here with people that actually work on medical equipment. There's an interview that I did just a few weeks ago where there's a gentleman here that's going over the motor. This is a conversation about medical device repair. Let me just uncrop this so that you can actually read the title of the video. There we go. A conversation about medical device repair. And in this video that I did just a few weeks ago, you can hear that someone's talking about an operating table where you're able to adjust a patient. So they're like sitting here versus here versus here. And there's a motor that goes into that. And sometimes that motor goes bad. And when that motor goes bad, this little motor inside of a $30,000 or $40,000 table, the manufacturer won't fix it if it's an old model. But they also tell the company that makes the motor, don't sell the motor to anybody if they want it. So he's not able to buy the motor, so that the hospital has to spend another $30,000 to $40,000 on an operating table, when in reality they could have just fixed it by replacing a $500 or $1,000 part. Sounds familiar now, doesn't it? Where I say, I could fix this $4,000 MacBook, it just needs a $5 chip, but Apple tells the company that makes the chip, don't sell it to anybody but us. How is replacing a motor inside of an operating table so that the hospital can get it fixed for $1,000 rather than spend $40,000 on a new one? Which, by the way, if you're wondering why healthcare is so expensive in the United States, that's why. How is that hurting innovation? How is that hurting your ability to make a new device? How is a consumer's ability to replace a charging chip in something they own going to hurt your innovation? The answer is that it's not about innovation, and it never was. It's about creating a society where we constantly buy a new one. The recurring revenue bundle, otherwise known in, quote, give Scott Galloway credit for this, the rundle. Companies trade at a higher price to earnings ratio if they have recurring revenue. And how do you create recurring revenue? You create recurring revenue by incentivizing people to purchase a new one rather than fix their old one. And this is not something that is limited to the cell phone industry or the laptop industry or the tractor industry or Apple. This is something that is widespread now in every single industry. And the reason that it is allowed to continue is because fear-mongering people, like the person who wrote this garbage article, that is assuming that you are too stupid to do a Google search to figure out what the FDA actually thinks of independent medical repair service centers. You're just too stupid to figure it out. And I don't believe that the lawmakers in Texas are as dumb as this gentleman thinks. I don't think they're so dumb that if someone just sprinkles the word left-leaning activist, left-leaning this, that you're going to get people in Texas to go, oh, the motor broke in the operating table. I guess I need the company to replace it because I'm too stupid to replace the motor. I'm too stupid to replace the battery in my device. I'm too stupid to change a charging chip. I guess I have to have Tim Cook do that for me. That doesn't sound like Texas to me. It doesn't sound like America at all. And this type of crap where it's like left-leaning activist groups. In Montana, they're pushing for right to repair. In Nebraska, the Farm Bureau wrote something like 176-1. They're not known for being very left-wing in Nebraska. You're full of shit. You're full of shit. And I think that people in Texas are going to see through it. I get it. I assure you, this man knows what he's doing. He's not that stupid. He knows if he has an audience in Texas and he sprinkles left activist this, left activist that, right, that he's probably going to get people to have a negative association with it. It's important that we make sure that this doesn't work. Farmers in Nebraska want right to repair. Farmers in Montana want right to repair. People in New York and Massachusetts want right to repair. The concept that you should be able to choose who works on your device, that you should be able to have the choice to replace something broken in your device and not have to go back to the manufacturer and so, please, sir, Mr. Tim Cook and John Deere, we would just like a sensor and a charging chip. Will you please sell it to me? No. Okay. That's not a left versus right issue. That's a common sense American issue. And there is, if we can't come together on this one idea that if you buy something, you own it, and you should be able to fix what you own, then we are truly, genuinely fucked. I beg of you, if you are someone who lives in Texas, works in Texas, is in politics in Texas, contact your representative, contact your congressperson, your senator, your governor, your assembly person, your mayor, and let them know that this is a pile of crap. Let them know that right, left, or center, that you want to be able to fix the devices that you own, and that nothing that this gentleman said is supported by facts. And the very agencies whose name he is invoking in this article have written papers that cut against his own argument. There are many issues in America where we are divided at this point in time. COVID restrictions, gun laws, gun rights, gun control, immigration, open borders versus a strict zero tolerance policy, Blue Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, doctor suits. There's all sorts of areas where we're going to disagree. That being said, if people from California to Texas, from Alabama to Massachusetts can't come together in moments like this to call this out for the fear-mongering, paid-for, lobbyist bullshit copy pasta that it is, then I believe that we are truly screwed. But I believe in America, and I believe in it enough to realize that regardless of how divided we are on so many different issues, that one of the few areas where we can come together is I don't want to have to ask for permission to someone else to be able to fix what I own and to be able to call this type of crap out for what it is. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now.